The Garden Beyond Midnight. English Story Level 5. Aurelia had always been fascinated by the old manor at the top of Crescent Hill. People said the manor was abandoned, but every night at exactly midnight, a soft green glow shimmered behind its windows. Most villagers avoided the place, whispering about enchantments and curses, yet Aurelia felt an irresistible pull each time she passed by. One crisp autumn night, unable to ignore her curiosity any longer, she climbed the hill and pushed open the rusty gate. The garden was overgrown with twisting vines and pale flowers that seemed to shimmer faintly in the moonlight. As she stepped forward, the air shifted, as though the garden itself had inhaled her presence. Aurelia followed the glowing light toward the back of the manor. There she found an ancient iron door half buried in ivy. When she touched it, the vines retreated, and the door creaked open to reveal a hidden courtyard unlike anything she had ever seen. Bioluminescent petals floated in the air like drifting stars, and the ground sparkled with silver moss. At the center of the courtyard stood an enormous tree with translucent leaves that pulsed softly, as though responding to a heartbeat. A man in a long dark coat sat beneath it, sketching in a worn notebook. Startled, Aurelia stepped back, but he looked up with gentle eyes and invited her to come closer. His name was Lysander, the last caretaker of the Midnight Garden. Lysander explained that the garden existed only between midnight and dawn, sustained by ancient magic tied to the land. The glowing petals were fragments of memories from those who had once cared for the manor. Over centuries, as the family that created the garden disappeared, the magic weakened, and the garden gradually faded from the world. Aurelia listened, mesmerized, as Lysander described how the garden responded to emotions. Hope made the leaves grow brighter, fear dimmed the flowers. Joy caused the petals to swirl in gentle spirals, and sorrow created black vines that spread through the roots. Lysander confessed that he had been unable to stop the dark vines creeping toward the heart of the tree. As if summoned by his words, a cold breeze swept through the garden. A cluster of black vines burst upward, twisting toward the tree's core. Lysander tried to stop them, but the vines recoiled and struck back, knocking him to the ground. Aurelia hurried to help him, but he insisted she go to the tree. Only someone with an untainted bond to the garden could save it. Unsure, but determined, Aurelia placed her hands on the shimmering bark. The tree vibrated with overwhelming feelings: loneliness from years of neglect, despair from fading magic, and a fragile longing for someone to care again. Aurelia whispered comforting words, pouring her own warmth into the tree. The leaves brightened, and the vines shrank away, dissolving into harmless dust. As the garden steadied, Lysander rose, astonished. The tree responded to Aurelia in a way it never had to him. He'd explained that the garden had chosen her as its new guardian. Though shocked, Aurelia felt an undeniable sense of belonging. When dawn approached, the garden began to fade, but the tree left a glowing mark on her palm, a promise that she could return at the next midnight. From that night on, Aurelia tended the Midnight Garden, learning its secrets and restoring its fading beauty. The villagers eventually noticed the hill shimmering softly at night, no longer a place of fear, but of wonder. And though the garden existed only beyond midnight, Aurelia made sure its magic would never fade again.